Do you want to know the worst refereeing decision in the history of football?
West Brown.
No, worse than West Brown. He knows what it's going to be. What am I going to say, Alex?
Leeds in Europe.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was going to say. Hello and welcome to the Route 1 Show, the podcast bringing you all the latest football action from West Yorkshire and beyond. I'm Stephen Brown, and with me in the studio is Tim Feather. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
And guess who's back? It's Alex Spivey.
You alright, Steve?
How are you doing, Alex?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Yourself?
I'm good. Are you glad to be back?
Yeah, it's nice to come back.
Looks to have got a tan.
Where have you been? You've been in Barbados for the last couple of weeks. Have you been ducking
just bailed them.
That's where the tan comes from.
Well, Guiseley are absolutely flying at the moment under new manager Mark Bauer, and are currently on a very impressive unbeaten run. And I'm delighted to say that on the line now is their manager. It's Mark Bauer. Hi, Mark.
Hiya, you all right?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on. So, Mark, we'll start with Tuesday's game then. I guess a 280-mile round trip on a Tuesday night in November is not always the best preparation for a game, but a credible draw with Worcester. What did you make of it?
Well, it was a poor game, really scrappy game, and like you say, it was a difficult trip down there, especially in midweek. But we started the game quite well, actually. First 25 minutes, half an hour, we controlled the game, but Worcester sat very deep and made it really difficult for us, and we were a bit frustrated, really, not to be able to break through. And but at the end of the day, clean sheet, it extends the unbeaten run. We'll take that and move on and look forward to this one on Saturday.
Absolutely. The back four were impressive, though.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we've looking back on the game, I can't remember them having a clear-cut chance, and in the second half, Worcester had more of the ball and a bit of pressure without ever really creating anything. So defensively, we were sound. So that's not just the back four, the team in general. Whereas, the forward side of our game wasn't on song. Everyone, worked the socks off and put in a real effort to make sure we kept that clean sheet.
And you say about the attacking play, but I mean, generally speaking, the quality of football from Guiseley the last few weeks, it's been really good, hasn't it?
Yeah, we played some cracking stuff at times. A couple of the goals we scored against Oxford on last Saturday were a joy to watch. Really, we're trying to encourage the players to get the ball down and pass it in the right areas and doing it at the right times, which they are doing, and they're taking it on board. And we have played some good stuff recently, and we're looking to keep that going.
Hi, Mark. It's Alex.
Hi, Alex.
You all right? A lot of young managers come out and say that they take good points and bad points from previous managers they've played under. Who would you say you took most good points from?
I would certainly say playing under Paul Jewell early on in my career. I liked the way that he worked and the way he dealt with people. So certainly a lot of the things that he preached at the time and the way he operated, certainly take a lot from that. A little bit from everyone, really. Probably the bad things as well. You see what some managers have done and you probably don't agree with it, and you try and steer clear of that. So combining a bit of that along with some of the things that I think and sort of the principles that I've got that I had as a player and want to carry forward as a manager.
Now, if we rewind a bit, Mark, and after Steve Kittrick left the job, you stepped in, and I guess it's fair to say that it didn't quite get off to a flying start. Now, was that just a case of players adjusting, you getting your own guys in, and how have you found stepping into management in general?
Well, it's been enjoyable, even through the bad spell we had at the start. I've enjoyed it. It's certainly been a change, and your phone never stops ringing and things like that. But yeah, we had a difficult spell. Obviously, the team were low on confidence, and we went into a spell of 5 games where we played Bradford Park Avenue twice, who were in good form.
You were better than Park Avenue, though, I seem to remember. You did outplay them, didn't you?
Certainly in the game where we had 10 men, we were the better side. And then the cup game could have gone either way. Yeah. We played Hensford as well, who were top, and if we'd have come in 4-0 up at half time, no one would have said that was a false reflection of the game. But we came in at 0-0 and were punished in the second half. So we had a mixture of bad luck and a couple of bad performances in there. But to be honest, I think it's probably stood me in good stead, really. Losing the games, you certainly realise straight away what the job's all about, and there was no honeymoon period or anything like that. So Sorry, go on.
Sorry, yeah. What was it like when you come into a job like that and it's not the best of starts? Do you really feel the pressure then? Did you feel the weight of expectation on your shoulders?
Yeah, you do a bit because I'm really grateful for the opportunity and really want to do well with it. So when you're on a bad run, you think how long is this going to last for? And we urgently needed to do something about it. Managed to bring in some strength through the core of our team, right through the middle, which has really helped us out. Yeah. We were on top in a lot of those games that we lost, but we were just conceding silly goals. So we managed to sort that out. We managed to bring in some experience there, and other players that were in the squad have stepped up to the mark as well. And we are looking at a solid unit at the minute, and also one that looks like scoring a few goals when we go forward.
Fantastic. Now, Adam on Twitter asks, he says, are you looking to bring in another striker or any more players? Will Danny Hall and Lewis Swain's loans be extended?
We're always on the lookout for new players. Speak to people constantly and try and watch as many games as we can. Myself, Danny Boschel, Martin Stringfellow, we're always trying to improve the squad, and if someone comes along that we think will improve the squad, then certainly we'll look to do something. I think where there was a bit of urgency in the last few weeks to bring a few bodies in, I don't think that urgency's there anymore, so we'll certainly be a little bit more choosy and take our time over making sure we bring the right players in and the right characters in. Lewis Swain, we've got till the end of December, so we don't know what will happen beyond that. Danny Hall, we're certainly looking to do something to keep him at the club on a bit more of a long-term basis, because since he's come in, he's formed a really good partnership with Adam Lockwood at the back, and he provides a bit of versatility as well. He can play all across the back four, so he's one that we'll certainly look to try and extend his deal for. Fantastic.
And up next, it's Halifax in the FA Trophy. What are your thoughts on playing Halifax again?
It's going to be a really difficult one. I think, given their home form, it's probably the most difficult tie we could have pulled. I think they've won 9 and drawn 2 out of their 11 home games. Yeah. So we're under no illusions. It's going to be a very, very difficult task. But we go there as the underdogs, which is a little change from how we've probably looked in the last couple of weeks. So we can play with a bit of freedom, but we'll go there and we'll try and stamp our authority on the game and play the way we want to play. And there's no reason that if we go there and do that and play to the best of our ability, there's no reason why we can't get a result.
No, absolutely not. Is the FA Trophy big on the agenda this season?
I think it is, yeah. It's a realistic chance to go a long way in a National Cup competition with a final at Wembley. The prize money that's on offer, I think it's very important for us to take it as seriously as we can. I'm sure Halifax will be doing so on Saturday. And given that we were knocked out at the first time of asking in the FA Cup this season, it puts a little bit more emphasis on it. But the team we pick will be the strongest we can possibly field, or that we feel is the strongest, and everyone, once they step over the white line, will be desperate to win the game and get through to the next round. Absolutely.
And have you set any goals for the rest of the season then?
No, not really. I mean, it's only 6-7 weeks ago people were talking about relegation fights. we're just going to, most boring old football cliche, but take each game as it comes. Yeah. We've made a big move in the league table and got ourselves into the top half, but there's a fair old gap to bridge between there and the playoffs at the minute. So we'll just concentrate on each game and see where it takes us.
What about long term, Mark? Is there any kind of sense you get from the higher ups, shall we say, at the club about a long term ambition? How far up they want to get in the leagues?
Well, the club's ambitious. There are plans in place to improve the ground. The academy set-up has been going for a couple of years now, and their performances on the pitch have just proved that the club is growing on all fronts. So yeah, certainly the long-term aim will be to get out of this division, get into the Conference National, and see where we can go from there. But certainly trying to put the infrastructure in place to have a sustainable football club that can, certainly play in a League 2 higher.
Fantastic. Mark, absolute pleasure to speak to you.
No worries.
There we go, fellas. So we've heard Guiseley manager there, Mark Bauer. Well, as he says, I mean, in a fantastic run of form. It's Halifax Town in the FA Trophy. What do we think there? Although this is FA Trophy, so it doesn't go on the predictions, but we'll have a prediction guess anyway.
Well, Guiseley coming into this with winning 4 out of the past 5 games, an impressive draw against Worcester when you consider it is a Tuesday night fixture and it's away. And Halifax coming into this on the back of 2 defeats against Braintree and Hereford.
Yeah.
Neil Aspin said that they played really well on Tuesday night, but you got to think that could there be a bit of cup magic here? Could something happen?
Yeah, we'll hear from Andrew Pinfield about Halifax Town very shortly. Alex, I mean, how well has Matt Bauer done to kind of overturn that difficult start?
Yeah, I think that's the key point. I think if he'd have made a good start straight away, that's impressive, but to do it after such a difficult start says a lot, I think. He must have had a lot of doubts in his mind early on, going into a new job and struggling.
Yeah.
So to be doing as well as they are now, I think a lot of credit to him.
Absolutely. I still think Halifax will overpower Guiseley in the FA Trophy. I've gone 1-0 Halifax. What are you guys saying?
After saying that, I've said that Halifax are going to win 3-1 because it can be quite devastating at home. And depends. I know Lee Gregory didn't play on Tuesday night. He might get rested again for Saturday, so that could change things a little bit.
Alex?
Yeah, it sounds like guys are going to take it seriously. Just wonder how serious Halifax will take it. But I think with their home form, you'd expect Halifax to win. So I've gone 2-0.
OK, well, Bradford City had a fantastic run to Wembley last year in the league, and many of the players, when they're asked the question, how did they manage to do this, they did point the finger to possibly someone you wouldn't expect. That's Nick Allamby, the head of sports performance at Bradford City. I'm delighted to say he's joining us on the line now. Hi, Nick.
Hi, how are you doing?
Thanks for joining us. So I guess we'll start at your time before City. How did it come about that you've become the head of sports performance at Bradford City?
I'd worked with the previous assistant manager, Colin Cooper, at Middlesbrough, and it was back 2 seasons ago. He asked me if I'd come down and help him. I was working for myself at the time, and he asked me if I could spare him some time and help set up the pre-season. So I did that, and it sort of spiralled from there. I worked full time over the pre-season. This was the year of first year when Phil came, and at the time they asked us if I could carry on and give them sort of 2 days a week as a consultant, which I was doing. And when Phil came in and took over from Peter Jackson, we just sort of got on. We were on the same wavelength, and he asked me if I'd carry on, and it all sort of, like I say, mushroomed from there.
Fantastic. And obviously it's such a fantastic year last year, the best in recent history for Bradford City, and it must have been very rewarding hearing the players and alike come out and speak about your role as well, because you don't often hear from players about that side of the game.
No, it's the sort of highest compliment you can get if the people that you're working with are buying into what you're doing. You know, we have a specific philosophy that all stems from the manager, and like I said, me and him were realised we were on the same wavelength. From my point of view, he's a great boss to work for. A modern manager in his ideals is very much into sports science and what it can do to enhance performance for individuals and the team. And when he came in, we talked about that. He said about the type of things that he's used before and what he expects from somebody in that position for him. And I laid out the philosophies that I had, and like I said, they're sort of mirrored. So I'm very much an advisor for him. I obviously do a lot of practical work with the lads themselves, but also help the manager and Steve in setting up their training programs in terms of how much we should train, when we should train, when we shouldn't train, you know, that type of thing. The type of work we do on a day-to-day basis, it's very much a sort of team approach.
So I was going to ask you what are some of Parkinson's strengths as a manager, but I guess you've answered that. It's his attitude towards the game and quite forward-thinking.
Yeah, he's very forward-thinking. He's likes us all to be very disciplined and just demands hard work from everybody, from all his staff, but he gets it out of you by the way he treats you. He's not a shouter and baller or anything like that. He just demands high standards. So
are there any great secrets you can reveal to us, Nick, about your success and what goes on with the players?
No real secrets. It's about doing a lot of basics very well, to be honest.
Yeah.
We moderate all the training in terms of how, like I just said, how much we should train, when we shouldn't train, the length, right the way down to each session. So how long we're going to train for that particular day, what the aim of the session is, and that builds up into how your weeks fit with each month, obviously around your game programme. So we do that. You have to give the players a lot of credit, because if they don't buy into what you're doing, then it's a waste of time. So they're of the same sort of mindset is what he looks for when he's buying players. He's players who work hard. And they've bought into what we've tried to set up in terms of all the sports science backup that they get. And if they do that, then obviously the implementation's a lot easier.
Now, who are some of the best and the worst trainers then at City at the moment, Nick?
I wouldn't say we've got any particularly bad ones now, because it's one of the sort of philosophies that the manager has, is that his players are hard-working, and I think he recruits on that sort of basis. So we've got some very, very good trainers there. Obviously, in terms of fitness and the ability of them, they're all different. You know, footballers have picked up on their ability levels, and they could have greatly different physiological skills, and abilities. So. But we've got some really, really good trainers there.
I mean, someone like Jones, for his age, he's absolutely incredible. Is that just something natural, or is that so? You obviously have to change your lifestyle as you get older, or is that just natural?
Well, he's been one of the biggest success stories for me personally, in terms of I don't think he's had the sort of sports science backup before. Some of the things that we've done with him have been new to him, and for him to adopt that, the changes at a sort of advancing age for a footballer, I think is very, very admirable. But again, utter desire every single day, in every single session that he does. He's just exactly the same as you see him on the field. He's 100% commitment, and the sort of different things that we do with him is making sure that he gets enough rest, because when he trains as he plays. He works really hard, so we make sure that his recovery protocols are all in place, and he does them very well. So
what do you do then when say Jones comes to the club then, and he's not used to that kind of sports science aspect to the game? What's the first couple of things you would do with a player like that?
For me, it's a history gathering exercise at first. You find out what sort of stuff, and with Gary, or somebody like Gary, he's played hundreds of games. You would ask them what they've been doing, because he's not got that many things wrong, and then it might be just a case of tweaking around his programme. So, for instance, he's never done much in the gymnasium in terms of strength and conditioning, so you weren't going to put him onto the sort of weights programme that some of the younger lads would do, where you're looking at building strength and power and such as that. But I tried to introduce a strength and conditioning programme that had helped him be as robust as he could possibly be. So we're making sure that his muscles, his joints, tendons and everything are as strong as they could be, so that he can cope with the demands of the game. But it's more tweaking around what he has done and saying, I know you've done this before, but I think that this might sort of help you a little bit more. And that's the sort of things that he's adopted.
Hi, Nick, it's Tim.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I was just going to say, one of the players that I've noticed a massive difference in from when he first came to the club is Kyle Reid. He seems to have bulked up quite a lot. Like you said about the strength and conditioning programme, it's good to have a pacey winger, but if he has that strength like Kyle has, it adds something else, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Again, another player who's done really well. He's had one or two problems with his groin. He had a horrendous injury last year with his groin, as you remember, around October time, which was purely traumatic. He's sort of sprinting full out and gets hit on the hip and ends up doing a forced split, and it sort of tore the tendon away from his bones. Ooh. So along with he did some fantastic work with our Edgeo, Matt Barris, who we looked at a specific strengthening programme for that area. And then what he's done really well as well, he's obviously, like you said, he's a very pacey, explosive player. So he's done a lot of general strength work and a lot of increased power work to work on that aspect of his game, both indoor and outdoor, just to make sure that he can. He's basically his system and his limbs are used to going at that sort of speed. Yeah. So the ability to speed up and slow down and speed up again, and he's especially this season he's found a sort of much better attitude towards how much work he needs to do to make sure that he can play as many games as possible. So he's done really well.
Now, obviously, one of the stars of City's last 2 seasons has been Nahki Wells, and he was out recently with an injury. What's it like bringing a player like that back to the fold? How hard do you work them? Do you give them a rest? What's the procedure for someone like a Wells who's been out with an injury?
Well, obviously, it's an individual. It depends. All the training that we do starts off with each individual and what they need to do. So in someone like with Nahki's case, he's a phenomenal natural athlete, up there with probably one of the best we've got, if not the, in terms of not only is he very explosive and very quick, but he's also got a fantastic engine. So if we were doing a sort of an aerobic-based session, it wouldn't matter what sort of distance it was, he would be right at the front. Wow. So his levels of natural fitness are very, very high. So at first, the first thing you do is shutting him down, making sure, because it was an ankle injury, making sure that it's mechanically sound again before he can do that. And then with him, it doesn't take very long and not that much more in terms of extra work that he needs to do to get him back to where we are. So we reintroduce him into aspects of training, and then he'll get a little bit of extra work to do over the top, you know.
And in terms of the rest of the season then, Nick, what are your ambitions for it and the club as a whole?
Well, when we obviously come up another league, you don't know how you're going to do it first. We were quietly confident in the ability of the players we've got to make an impact in this league. I think we've done very well so far. I think we'd say we've had a satisfactory start to the season. We're up in the top 6, which is where we hope to be around this time of the year. So if we can get through the Christmas period and still be somewhere around that area, then we'll see where we go from there. But we never sort of like to make predictions this earlier in the season. You know, we haven't got halfway yet, so we're quite happy with how we've done so far.
Well, Nick, it's absolutely fascinating insight you've given us there. Really appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Thank you, Nick.
No problem at all.
OK, we're looking at Bradford City now, and they got a fantastic win against MK Dons at the weekend. Couldn't quite repeat it against Notts County, but on the phone now to discuss all things Bradford City is our Bradford City correspondent, it's Pete Chapman. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Stephen.
So what did you make of the last couple of games for City then?
Well, I think the win at MK Dons, a fantastic result. They desperately needed another win, and to get it away from home, having twice been pinned back as well, and great for Jason Kennedy as well. Not necessarily the fans' favourite, and a lot felt they hadn't seen what he was capable of, I think. But to score like that and secure the 3 points is fantastic. Then Tuesday, and I think people might have thought bottom of the league, Notts County, is going to be easy, but you look at their last few games, they only just lost to the likes of Wolves and had put up a very good performance. And there was a sickness bug in the Bradford camp as well, which wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, that's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? You're not a conspiracy theorist, are you, Pete? You don't think there was any foul play there?
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, Phil Parkinson had said to us on the Monday at the press call that the likes of Nahki and Kyle Reid had been sent home to try and keep, and one of the staff had it on the Saturday, and they'd been sent away from the dressing room, and they tried to contain it. But with those sort of things, it's very hard to know who's been around someone before they got the symptoms, sort of thing.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to note that City, getting back to games. I mean, they've had 4 different goal scorers in the past couple of games, so it's showing that variety, isn't it? They're starting to shift the goals about a bit.
That is very, very crucial, because when Nahki was out injured, the goals dried up a bit, and I think there was a thought that it's only Nahki who can really score. Yeah. And that's been shown that's not the case, and it is crucial, particularly that midfield get their name on the score sheet, which with Yates and with Kennedy they've done. And Kyle Reid, of course, on the Saturday.
Absolutely, and it's Oldham up next. What can we expect with that one, Pete? They've won the last couple of games, so that they're starting to slowly improve themselves.
Indeed, yeah, they're on a bit of a good run. It's going to be a strange one, an early Sunday kick-off, of course, because of the Rugby League.
That's strange, isn't it? It doesn't feel right, does it?
It doesn't, and I think particularly for players at this level, they're not used to having their kick-off time messed around with. But to say that the football authorities thought that with the Rugby League World Cup the day before, it would affect particularly a Yorkshire-Lancashire derby like that, so close to where the final is at Old Trafford, it could affect the crowd. So probably the right decision. I think it'll be an interesting one. It's how well Bradford have got over this sickness bug, whether anyone else has gone down with it. It's going to be tight, but Bradford should have enough. It's just whether they can. They don't always seem to produce what they are capable of. But then, you could say, should they be sixth in the league if that was the case? Yeah. I mean, they're still up there, and there is a bit of a gap developing sort of from about ninth down now. They've got a little bit of safety there.
Hi Pete, Alex here.
Hiya.
You alright? Just one slight concern. I think out of the bottom six we've only beaten one of them. And obviously last season we struggled a bit against teams at the bottom. Do you think what do you think we can do to change that? It seems like if we don't score early, it's just a massive uphill struggle for the rest of the game.
I think it's been a problem for Bradford for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, obviously we saw last season how well they can do against higher league opposition, and indeed the season before. But I think some of it is they like space on a football pitch, and teams that are at the bottom tend to press and try and cancel you out and not necessarily play football, just try and cancel the game out. And Bradford don't like playing against sides like that, which can be a bit of a problem when you're playing teams that are fighting for their lives.
Yeah, I think, to me, the first half, apart from 2 or 3 chances where we could have scored, it was a lot of route one long ball stuff, and we seemed to get it down a lot more in the second half when Doyle came on.
Yeah, I think the comments from Presley the other week about it being football from the dark ages, I think they're grossly unfair, because there is a lot of football played with Bradford City, and the wing-backs, for want of a better term, of Stephen Darby and Meredith are crucial in the build-up, and I think Doyle is a fantastic player. Everyone talks about Gary Jones, and they see him moving around, but Doyle is the one that, if you want, is a bit more stationary, but he's picking out the passes and trying to control the game a bit more.
Lovely. Pete, thanks very much for joining us.
Okay.
Take care, mate. Good to speak to you. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. OK, fellas, so we've heard there from Pete Chapman, and now, Alex, you mentioned it a bit with Pete. You were complaining about the style in which City are going about their football this season and previous seasons, a bit of a long ball team, and we know you don't like that.
No, I don't, but I think generally our primary tactic is to get it high and long to Hansen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work in the early stages of the game, sometimes we seem to persist with it rather than just... Like, we're playing bottom of the league.
There's no plan B.
No, well, we got it down in the second half against Notts County and looked a lot better. If I don't know why we didn't start it like that.
Is that the kind of thing when you
use Hansen as the second tactic rather than...
Is that the problem, Tim, when you've got a big guy like Hansen up front? The tendency is, right, launch it long. You probably, the guy's probably going to win it in the air. Are they a bit too reliant on that?
I don't think it's also just because he's the big guy up front, but he's also really good at what he does, especially for League One standard. I mean, you look at like the Premier League, and you've got players like Amiobi and you've got players like Amiobi and Benteke that can do it, and that's what Hansen does at our level. But I think that it is a bit of a Route 1 situation at the moment, and what really, really annoys me is in the City had a free kick a couple of seconds literally from the end, and Hansen was marked out in the last corner by 3 players, right? And McLaughlin still kicked it towards Hansen, who had 4 players around him. Right. Now I don't understand why they don't use Hansen as a different kind of player, where it's
decoy.
I think there were Yates and a couple of other players who were calling for McLaughlin just to pass it to Derby to keep the game going, really. But yeah, it is a bit of a Route 1 situation.
It does work, because against Coventry, Hansen was part of all 3 goals.
Yeah.
And then Wells' goal that was disallowed on Tuesday came from a Hansen flick on.
Yeah.
But I disagree with a lot of City fans that I think we use it a lot more than a lot of City fans think.
Right.
I think we use it too much. I think what my problem was on Tuesday was the two centre-backs for Notts County, give them credit. They marked Hansen out of the game, really. And I think that sometimes, maybe there were just times he saw Naki, he's got pace to burn. Just play it through middle, play the ball through and just see if you can get something like that rather than just going long all the time.
So you're personally disgusted with the way City play?
No, I think you're putting words in my mouth. And I agree with Parkinson, we'll mix it up, because we've got two full-backs who both get forward, especially Meredith.
Yeah.
And we do get wingers on the ball, and sometimes, like Tuesday, when Doyle came on, we do play it through, but I'd just like to see us pass it a bit more. And I think it was winter last season as well. It might have had to do with the cup run, but we seemed to go a long time where it just seemed every game was a bit of long ball, but it does work. It works a lot of the time, but I'd just like to see us get it down a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I've gone for 2-1 Oldham. I think a bit of run of form themselves, City a bit inconsistent. What have you two guys gone for?
Well, I think with the form Oldham on, I can see it being another poor conditions, and I think they'll beat us, and I've put 1-0.
1-0. Tim?
Well.
Heart or head?
I think when it comes to teams like this...
He's gone heart, hasn't he?
You've got to consider, if they're on a winning run, they'll want to try and have a go, and they'll look at City and they'll look at the past couple of results and go, you know what, we can have a go at these, we can probably win. And when teams do that towards Bradford, they start to push a bit more, and City seem to do a lot better against teams like that. I am worried about the fact that if we come out slow again, like we did against Notts County and like we did against MK Dons, then we're going to struggle. But to cut a long story short, I've gone for 2-0 City.
2-0 City, and I've gone 2-1 to Oldham. But Alex, what was yours again?
1-0 Oldham.
1-0 Oldham. Well, we'll wait and see. Well, it was a much-needed victory against Sheffield Wednesday as Huddersfield managed to beat Wednesday 2-1 in the Yorkshire Derby. And on the blower now to discuss this with us is the Huddersfield Examiner's Doug Thompson. Hi, Doug.
Hiya, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. So it was a much-needed victory, but it was a good performance, wasn't it, Doug?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, much improved on the previous game against Birmingham. Really just what Town needed. They've been, threatening a win for quite a while without actually squeezing one. Leeds United was the last one, of course. It was, a timely win, and it's, giving everybody a real boost, really, ahead of what's another big game on Saturday against Burnley.
Was it a bit dubious, the first goal, Patterson, but maybe claims of offside?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, with the benefit of a TV replay, it did look marginally offside. In real time, it was very hard to tell, to be honest. It's certainly from our angle, we were looking sort of down on it from a distance. You have a little bit of sympathy with Sheffield Wednesday, perhaps, for the first goal, but it was a pretty fine margin, so I think these things even themselves out over the course of the season.
Yeah. And it was interesting, wasn't it, Doug, as well, with everything that's happened, that Patterson and Clayton coming back to score the goals and have such a huge impact as well.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have written it better, really, could you? Saved me thinking of an intro for the story, that's for sure, yeah. Particularly with Clayton setting the goal up and then scoring himself. It's good. In a way, I think it was good because it sort of drew a line under what's happened. It's become pretty clear now, that they did have a set two on the training ground. Patterson obviously sustained his hand injury. It was becoming a tricky situation with a squad like Towns, which isn't the biggest, to rule out two players and fairly experienced players as well, was obviously going to be a problem. It wouldn't have been so bad if they'd not lost the previous two games. But,
and Clayton,
that made it really force the hand, didn't it?
Absolutely. And Clayton's a good little player, isn't he? He's done that before. I was surprised when Leeds let him go. Actually, I think that was more the situation with Warner. But he is a good little player, if a bit of a feisty character.
Yeah, he's certainly got that side to his game. Yeah, but I agree, he is a good player. I know a lot of people who support Leeds, and they were quite surprised when he was let go and when he arrived at Town, and he came with their recommendation, and he's certainly shown in flashes, what he's capable of. He seems to be better playing in that sort of advanced midfield position at the tip of a sort of midfield diamond, or in front of two sitting midfielders, pushing forward, and he's certainly got a bit of a threat. He can score a goal. Really, Town have missed a player like that, and it's good to see him operating like he is doing.
We have to mention, though, James Vaughan, he missed a sitter, didn't he?
He did, did, yeah. I mean, we'll put that down to a bit of rust. I think with on you can
let it go.
1 or 2, yeah. But I mean, that would have been a very important goal, really, because let's not forget Sheffield Wednesday started the second half quite well. Jermaine Johnson, who people in our region will remember from his time at Bradford, he came on and made a real impact.
Yeah.
And they could easily have got a goal back. The second Town goal was a little bit against the run of play, really, which really knocked the stuffing out of Wednesday. So, it was a shame that James missed that goal, because that really, might have led to maybe a 3 or 4 goal win for Town.
Absolutely. And up next though, Doug, it's Burnley. I mean, that's very difficult, isn't it? Although Burnley, they've drawn the last 3 games. They're not as good as they were. They're not on fire, so to speak, as they were a bit earlier. Is this a good time to be playing them? Do you think possibly knock them off the top?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it'd be fantastic to do that. That'd be a real sort of confidence boost if Town were able to do that. I mean, it's a good old-fashioned fixture, really. It's 2 sort of similar clubs. Both good histories, maybe fallen on hard times. Having said that, of course, Burnley were in the Premier League not that long ago. But it's a real attractive fixture, and it certainly seems to have caught the imagination. I think we're looking at a possible crowd of equaling the one against Leeds, which would be brilliant. Burnley have sold their allocation. Advanced ticket sales suggesting a sort of
3,500, is it? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so I mean, it's not that far, really, is it? It's a good old-fashioned Roses derby, isn't it? Really,
absolutely.
And it'd be great, if Town could beat them. Like you say, they're a very sort of, from what I've seen of them on TV and read about them, they're a very workmanlike, sort of solid, well-organised team, really. 2 good strikers in Ings and Vokes, and it's unusual these days to see 2 strikers in double figures from the same team, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, they're both the top 2 scorers in the division. Is it all about keeping them quiet then, probably especially Vokes, do you think?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he seems to sort of take a lot of physical punishment, and take a bit of pressure off Ings, who's a smaller, sort of more nimble player.
Yeah.
They've scored the bulk of Burnley's goals, so logically, if you can stop the supply to them, that should be a big thing. But it won't be an easy game, but it's an exciting game. It's the kind of game that you want to see, and one of the reasons we wanted to be in the Championship, really.
Absolutely. So, Doug, give us a prediction for the Burnley game then.
I'd like to say 2-1 to Town. I think by law of averages, you'd imagine that Burnley would lose sooner or later. Wouldn't you? I think they've gone 12 without losing. Yes, it is 12, isn't it? Yeah, they've gone 12 without losing.
It's about time, isn't it?
In August, yeah. So it's about time somebody put one over on them. So it would be great if it could be Town.
There we go, fellas. So we've heard from Doug Thompson there on Huddersfield's chances. So it was a valuable win this week. I've gone, though, 1-0 Burnley this week. What do we think?
I had originally put 2-1 Burnley.
You went 2-1 Burnley. Then you had Doug, and he's filled you with confidence, hasn't he, Tim?
Changing scores again.
yeah, well, that too. But I just looked at they've struggled away from home recently, Burnley. They have drawn the past 2 games away from home against Millwall and Notts Forest. And
has it just started to maybe change for Burnley a bit, the pressure
at
the top?
They are on... they're at a bit of a tipping point at the moment themselves because they're top of the division with Leicester and QPR but they're only top by goal difference, and that is plus 17 is quite impressive in the Championship, isn't it? All on 35 points, so there's a chance that a draw, Huddersfield could sneak a draw. It'd be fantastic for him if they did.
What have you gone for again?
I've gone for 2-2.
2-2. Alex?
I'll stick with my original prediction and say 1-1.
1-1. Why are you going 1-1? What's the thinking?
I think Town are decent at home, and obviously Burnley on a long unbeaten run. I just think it'll be a really close game, and I'll go for a draw.
Right, we're having a look at Leeds United now. I'm delighted to say joining us on the line now is our Leeds United correspondent, it's Jennifer Berry. Hi, Jen.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm not used to this. 3-1s on the trot. What's going on? This is far too consistent for Leeds.
I know. It's far too good. Well, we did in November. That's the time we get going. So
we're starting to motor, aren't we?
Exactly.
Good solid win against Middlesbrough, because obviously they had a new manager coming in, players looking to impress, but it was solid, wasn't it? We got there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a little less comfortable than we'd hoped it would be, but it's one of them, isn't it? If you grind out a win at home, we'll take that. Definitely would have taken that before kick-off. Absolutely.
And McCormick on the score sheet again. He's in a rich vein of form, isn't he?
He's on fire. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'd missed a sitter as well a bit earlier on, so I think he'd be quite relieved to get his goal.
He probably got a load of grief on Twitter about that, didn't he, to be fair? Knowing what Twitter's like. What is it about McCormick? What are the qualities that he has that really stands him out in your eyes?
It works blooming hard. I mean,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of criticism, and I think he does always make a point of sort of trying to prove people wrong, but I think he's just needed a consistent partner, and when McDermott moved him into midfield, he wasn't overly keen on that. It didn't suit his type of play, but he's always sort of looking to make things happen. He's always making the runs, he's putting balls in, he's always in the right sort of place at the right time, and I think it was only a matter of time before he started scoring consistently again. So
absolutely,
never doubted him.
I've noticed a bit of a sea change with Jason Pearce as well. He's doing okay, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not doing too bad. I think I'm not sure how much the 5-3-2 suits us, especially with like Warnock and Byron being out, but it does seem to have come on a lot. He's a lot more confident. And I think I can't even pronounce his name, Marius.
I know you mean. Yeah, I've not gone there either. I thought no.
He just seems to look a lot more comfortable, sort of with some partners alongside him who are capable of sort of marshalling, but also taking the ball down to the feet and just calmly putting it out. And even Pearce, I mean, he's not afraid to put his foot round it and sort of play it out instead of just booting it anywhere. So absolutely.
Looking on to matters within the club, obviously we didn't get a chance to speak to you last week, but what was your view with the whole Lucas Radebe and the whole takeover investment thing that happened?
Well, it's one of them things. As soon as you sort of mention Lucas Radebe and get involved in that level, everybody sort of gets excited. You know, it would be the perfect situation for it. I would probably say any Leeds fan for him to be involved at that kind of level. I mean, looking into sort of the details of what was supposedly happening, it sort of looked a bit more unrealistic. I mean, I think they mentioned about 7 million for sort of the controlling stake in the club. Which, I mean, when you look at it, if you think about how much GFH probably put into it, and you're talking sort of 20 million.
They bought the club for 50-odd million, didn't they? So there's no way they were going to sell up for.
It's one of those things, and it depends sort of which source you listen to. But if you also believe that how much the liabilities that they had to pay and how much you think possibly the club was worth, 7 million might not have actually been that far away. Yeah. But from a controlling sort of state point of view, it's not. Realistically, I don't think it's what sort of GFH are looking for. No. So, it was nice on the surface of it, but in terms of it being realistic, I'm not too sure.
Not too sure. And this week it's transpired that Leeds United Managing Director David Hague, he's committed a 7-figure investment into the club. Now that's come from. I'm slightly confused on this matter. He's the Leeds United Managing Director, but he's got his own company, and it's from his own company that this sum has come from. Is that right?
But again, it's one of them again. It's who you speak to. I was at the Leeds United Supporters Trust AGM last night, and Mr. Hague was actually good enough to come along to that.
Fantastic.
Which was great, and he did answer questions. I mean, there was a lot he couldn't answer that he wouldn't answer. But one of the things that was obviously put to him was about this investment, and he basically said, look, if it doesn't come from the official channels, if it doesn't come from us, it's rubbish. So,
right. So anything you hear
it's difficult to sort of believe that. I mean, personally speaking, I don't think there is that much money from that side of him that he would just put into the club.
Also, right. So we don't think there's anything near like that he's put in like that then.
Personally, I don't think so. And from what he said last night, he did basically say, there's this things being mentioned about him being Conservative MP. There's obviously a bit about the investment and a few other sort of monetary matters, all of which haven't come from the club. And I know we've always been sort of speculative about things that are sort of mentioned like that, but he did sort of say, unless it comes from us directly, it's rubbish.
Right.
I did think it was possibly a little bit much for him to just sort of do on the off chance.
Surely he's too busy.
I'm not sure it's.
Surely he's too busy climbing Kilimanjaro or whatever. He's always up to these exactly. Arctic walks and things, isn't he?
I was going to say he does make a heck of a lot of charitable donations to fair play, so I'm surprised he's got anything left to
give away. It got all the fans salivating, didn't it, with the prospect of a few million being available in January. If Leeds are kind of in a similar position now, can we expect them to strengthen? Do you think JFH they will go for it?
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing that he mentioned, and I think this was, whether he has put the money in or not, he's basically saying, look, if we do put some money in, we're not going to tell everybody about it, because then the other clubs, that, if we're looking at their players, they've got the upper hand if they know we've got money. So I do think we'll strengthen in January. I think there will be sort of some funds available. We have sort of got some wages off the books like Ryan Hall. And I do think there will be a little bit of money available, especially if we sort of carry on the run that we're on. I don't expect them to even speculate about the amount of figures that are involved, but I think there'll be a little bit.
A little bit there. And finally, Jen, it's Blackburn up next. Blackburn not great. I mean, they're lying in 14th. They haven't won for a couple of games. What do we expect with that one?
I think it'll be a tough one, but I mean, we've got I think at the time of this, there was about 180 odd tickets left or something out of 6,800. So it might feel pretty much like a home game with the amount that Blackburn sort of. I think they only average about 13,000 at the minute, so it might feel like a bit of a home game. I'd expect Leeds to get a result, going by the last sort of couple of games. But
can I push you for a prediction?
I'll go 2-0 Leeds. I'll go for McCormack.
2-0 Leeds. Wow, optimism.
I know, it's weird.
Lovely. Jen, thanks very much.
No worries.
Nice to speak to you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There we go, fellas. So we've heard from Jen there. It's Blackburn up next. I'm going to copy Jen's enthusiasm. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. Alex, what do you think, mate?
I've gone for a same scoreline as that.
You know what, mate? You need a winning predictions. You need to step it up, mate.
Been top all season.
You got 2 clear wins at the start, and you've done nothing since.
Nah, I'm
You're
still
rested
top.
on your laurels, mate.
Says a lot about you two if I'm struggling and still top.
Fact sheet, it has caught you right up.
Yeah, but he changes predictions.
I do.
So what have you got?
Now, I've gone same as Huddersfield. I've gone 1-1. Leeds doing well at the moment, but I do think Blackburn will improve.
Do you think Leeds things have started to change? Do you think they're possible playoff candidates this season?
Well, they've started the home form out, haven't they? And they won the last away game was at Charlton.
Yeah.
No, I still think they need a bit more. If they can sign a couple in January, then maybe they will push for the playoffs. But at the moment, I don't see them as a top 6 team.
No, I mean, Tim, speaking to Jen, then it still seems a bit murky, doesn't it, with investment and this, that, and the other. But Leeds seem to be going well on the pitch. What have you gone for with the Blackburn result?
Well, I've not changed it. I promise. I've gone for the same 1-1. Blackburn are quite. Fairly strong at home themselves, winning against Middlesbrough and, decent draw with Reading. But I think, I don't know, I think Leeds' winning run might come to a little bit of an end. Ross McCormack can't score for you all the time. Great player, though.
Yeah. Wells can be his understudy when he joins us.
Yeah.
OK, well, we're going to have a look at Halifax Town now. I'm delighted to say joining us on the line now is our Halifax Town correspondent. It's Andrew Pinfield. Hi, Andrew.
Evening, Steve.
Thanks for joining us. So, last couple of games, losses for Halifax Town, lost to Braintree, lost to Hereford, close one 3-2. What's gone wrong in the last couple of games? No Lee Gregory against Hereford, of course.
Yeah, well, I think it's summed up in the Hereford away game. Lee Gregory actually got injured in the last minute down at Braintree when we got beat 1-0 last Saturday. It was a bad enough day as it was getting the defeat, but then in the very last minute, Lee Gregory broke his hand, and it's not the same injury that he did earlier in the season. It's a new break in 2 places.
Oh, dear. So that's terrible luck, that, isn't it?
Well, the problem being is I went down to Hereford on Tuesday, and the luck, we had Simon Haynes suspended, so we had a back 4 of Mark Roberts and Danilo at centre-back, and believe it or not, both of those went off injured in the first half. So we had to...
One of those games.
Oh, well, it's going from bad to worse. Yeah. Adam Smith went off injured in the second half, so we've had to bring in 2 loan players today, making it 5 loan players in the last month having to come in because the squad is so threadbare.
Wow, it makes it really difficult, doesn't it? How long is Gregory going to be out for, do we know at this point?
Well, that's a debatable one. We're hoping he'll be back before Christmas, but it's highly unlikely. Early indications are it'll be 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had the bad news that Ryan Toulson sidelined for at least 3 months at full-back. Right. And when your top scorer's missing and then you've got new injury worries to Mark Roberts and Danilo, it don't look too clever on the player front, I'm afraid. No,
absolutely not. But up next, it change of pace, I guess it's the FA Trophy against Guiseley. How do we see that one going, Andrew?
Well, it depends if we can put a team on the pitch, Steve.
Hey, Andrew, you might have to get your boots out.
No, not myself, but we've brought two new players in today. We've already, in the last month, brought in loanees Ironside from Sheffield United, Archie Love from Burnley, Sam Patterson made his debut on Tuesday. He's coming from Barnsley, and today we've gone back to Burnley to raid another youngster, Tom Anderson, and Reece Grace coming from Rochdale. So we've got 5 players there who are all aged between 19 and 21, just coming on short-term loans just to cover these injuries. So guys, like you say, Saturday's got to be a very tough game. And it's got to be, you've got to look up to your likes of Kevin Allsgrove and Josh Wilson, who are ex-Guiseley, to get on top of their game. They'll be up for it against the former club, so hopefully we can get a result, but it won't be easy due to the depleted squad.
Well, is another problem as well, kind of, Guiseley, they're on form now with Bowery. Had a difficult start there, but they've found real form. They're on an unbeaten run, so I guess, is it kind of a bad time to face them?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be favourites with us being in the higher league, and Guiseley, Mike Bauer has changed round, so they'll be coming to this year, nothing to lose. There's underdogs. Having said that, it'd be, I think, a lot closer game than people suggest. And the FA Trophy is very important to clubs like ourselves and Guiseley, with the prize money and a possible Wembley final at stake. So it'll be a tough game. We need to put 11 men on the pitch first of all, and Guiseley will be thinking they can cause an upset. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, looking at the league finally, Andrew, I mean, Aspin, will he be happy so far with Halifax this season?
He'll be happy with the home form. There's no two ways about that. Played 11, won 9, drawn 2. Away from home, it's more or less a reversal, just 2 points away from home. We started off the season relatively well, but it's going to be a real test of resolve the next couple of months whilst we've got these long-term injury problems. And when you've got your top scorer, Lee Gregory, who's not just broke his hand once this season, but twice, and then looking to miss probably 6 to 8 weeks, it's not looking very good.
No. If I had to push you for a prediction, Andrew, what would you say?
Well, we're hoping to sneak it. We always want to win, but it might even go to a replay. But we're hoping we can sneak it by the odd goal or two.
Now, Andrew, just before we let you go, obviously, big stories broken the last couple of days about match fixing, and it's coming down from non-league football up into the higher leagues. What's your opinion of what's been uncovered?
It's very, very sad, isn't it, what we've heard the last few days about non-league. They're saying it might be the Blue Square South. That was a few games last season. Andy Mangan at Forest Rovers, I think the last 18 months he was found guilty. And it's just an awful shame when you're thinking that the public and supporters are going to watch a game of football and you're hoping that it'll be played on an even keel and both teams wanting to win. But what's come out in the last few days seems it could be a bit worse and serious than that, and it's not a nice situation at all.
No, I mean, one player played in the Premier League, didn't he?
Well, we've got one of the people I think has been named today, Delroy Facey, who's local to Bradford and Huddersfield players, and if he's obviously we can't say too much until the investigation's taken place. But no, it's a very sad state of affairs when all you want to see from players, supporters is a game of football, both teams wanting to win, and if there's match fixing at stake when there's a lot of money involved, and it's just taking away a lot of the good aspects of football.
Hi Andrew, it's Tim.
Hi Tim.
I was just wondering, how does it work? The standards in the non-leagues, like the conference, for refereeing assessors and stuff like that. Is there an assessor there every game, or is it?
Yeah, the assessors are there every game. I mean, speaking to a lot of supporters, there won't be. Well, I'm not saying that the referees are at the centre of allegations, but with some of the performances, you sometimes think what's going on in the game when they're giving penalties and one thing and another. But
that comes straight up to League One as well, mate.
Don't start with these two.
Straight up to League One as well.
These City fans have been moaning all the time about referees, honestly.
We could go on forever, couldn't we, and have a full hour talking about referees, but that's a different thing. But no, the referees are assessed even at this level.
Yeah.
The allegations are that it is non-league football, and it might be the Conference Premier, it might be the Conference South or North. But until the investigation's fully taken place, we can't really say what has gone on and what hasn't gone on. But it's very tempting when bookmakers come to you and offer I know, watching the transcripts, that these non-league footballers are not paid an awful amount of money. And if somebody's prepared to throw £10,000 in the face, then it's very foolish to do so, but it's a very worrying situation.
Fantastic. Andrew, thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers now, take care.
Take care, mate. See you later.
Okay,
bye-bye. Bye-bye. We've heard there from Andrew Pinfield. Lee Gregory's done his hand in again now. Massive blow, that, isn't it?
It is as well, especially for him on a personal level, because he had a lot of clubs looking at him, and now will that go away a little bit? But you heard Andrew there saying it could even go to a replay. Kind of for Halifax's sake, I hope not, because if they have to go to Nethermore and play,
I wouldn't fancy him, would you?
No, I wouldn't fancy him there. No. Aspin was happy with the way they all played on Tuesday night, though, and said he wouldn't change a thing. But by the way, I just want to say, Halifax have one of the best named players, Ironside. Absolutely.
Ironside.
Sounds like a transformer, doesn't it?
He's got to be a defender, hasn't he?
No,
Ironside's offside. There we go.
He came on against City for Sheffield United this season.
Oh, really?
Does sound like a transformer, though.
Yeah, it does. What do you think of Gregory possibly going to Bradford City, Alex?
Would
that be good?
Well, yeah, there were rumours coming out, but we've recently signed a 19-year-old from Scarborough. So,
oh yes,
rated by Chris Bell.
Absolutely.
How's he rate him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's on the rumours that they've been scouting him, but
I think a lot of clubs will, won't they? A lot of clubs will.
Yeah, definitely.
OK, let's have a look at Bradford Park Avenue, and joining us on the line now is our Bradford Park correspondent. It's Chris Bell. Hi, Chris.
Hey, mate, you all right?
I'm good, thank you. Are you missing the studio this week?
I am, yeah. It's not the same when I'm not
there. So looking at Park Avenue, then, it's the big game, FA Trophy against Kidderminster. Are you excited for this one?
Yeah, of course. It's an unlikely scenario, really, of course, having already played Kidderminster in the FA Cup earlier on in the season. It was just one of those, what are the chances of that kind of thing, when obviously Kidderminster came out the hat for the FA Trophy. It's not going to be easy, they put up a great fight in the FA Cup games. Very, very unfortunate not to go through, really, when they really deserved to advance.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting one. But it's one that I'm sure all the Bradford Park Avenue fans and myself included as commentator, it's a game that very much looking forward to covering.
And if it's a draw, then what?
Yeah, you had to say that, didn't you? Yes, if it's a draw, it will go.
It is a replay, isn't it?
Another replay. So that will be Tuesday night, I think it is. Tuesday 3rd, I think the replay will take place.
Do you think there should just be one game for the FA Trophy? Really, do you think it's a bit much, kind of expecting teams, to play replays at this stage in the season?
Quite possibly. I mean, this is the thing, when you think, especially with the FA Trophy as well, is it's all your non-league sides, right down to the very lowest level, really. And obviously, draws and replays are financially a strain on a lot of these really, small non-league sides. So potentially, from that point of view, it would be better just, you've got a 90-minute game. If it's still a draw, extra time, penalties, and deal with it that way, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking to the league now, Chris. A draw against Boston United. What did you make of that one?
It was a relatively fair result. Park Avenue probably. It was just another game where they just couldn't cling on to what they had. They had the lead right up until last 10, 15 minutes or so. Let it go and. Ended up just taking away a point from a game which, if you look at the league table, they really should have and needed to take all three, because Boston, they were second, they were leading the game for a large part of it. If it was 3 points they could have taken, it would have really helped them close the gap on the teams above them. But as it is, it was just a point taken. It doesn't really help the cause, because they're still 5 or 6 points away from the teams above them who aren't in the playoff race. And this is the thing: it's they need to start picking up 3 points in league games and getting a run together soon. Otherwise, they are, you hate to say it at this early stage, but there is a danger, shall we say, that they might not. Be able to catch up, basically, with the way things are going for them.
It's interesting, because assistant Mike Hume said, well, they took 4 points from Boston. If they take 4 points off most of the top 8, then they're going to do all right. I guess he's right, but the recent run of form, it's amazing how it changes throughout the season. They're on that great run, and then things have kind of slipped a little bit.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. They got that great run. Obviously, had the Kidderminster games, and I think since Boston and Park Avenue met back on 24th September, they've only actually had they've had 4 wins. Only one of them had been in the league, and that was against Gloucester.
Yeah.
So, it just shows that after that great run of form where they've taken just too many draws, really, and not enough wins, and since then, things have dropped off slightly, shall we say. I'd say that they've got a lot to do to catch up, really, with that playoff pack.
Absolutely. And Chris, so hopefully I'll be joining you for a co-commentary soon enough, Chris. I'm a good luck charm for Park Avenue. You won 4-0 last time.
Yeah, 4-0, 4 goals and a clean sheet the last time you were on a co-commentary due. So yeah, it'll be great to get you in the commentary box at some point soon.
Absolutely.
Another game's coming up, and we'll have to see if we can get sorted out anyway.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Chris, thanks very much for joining us.
No problem at all, mate.
Take care, mate. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we go, fellas. So, Bradford Park Avenue against Kidderminster. Obviously, that amazing tie last time. Tim, do you see it going all the way like that again, or do you think Park Avenue can do the job first time round?
I see it going that way again. Sorry for Chris. I hope he's
5 a.m. job again, Chris. Sorry about that.
It is, yeah. You might get your co-commentary there. Going down to Agbra.
Yeah,
apparently they do nice lasagna, I think they said last time.
That's fine.
Post-match lasagna or something.
Very good.
But no, I've gone for I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It's positive that Park Avenue have got Davidson back, because he scored on Saturday, and they were a bit unlucky on Saturday from what I've heard about the free kick, but apparently it was a picture of a free kick.
Fair enough. Alex, Park Avenue Kidderminster, how do you see that one going?
I think a bit close, but I've gone for Kidderminster to nick it 2-1. I think Park Avenue are on the best of form. Kidderminster obviously one of the better teams in the league, so I think they'll just nick it 2-1.
Nick it 2-1, fantastic. Right, okay, we're going to have a look at the Premiership games coming up this weekend. And just to mention predictions table, it's getting quite close at the top. Getting quite close to the fact sheet. What happened? What's happened to you? Getting 16 points, getting 4 scorelines right. What's happening?
I've been too cautious at the start. I started the season off quite cautiously, and now I'm able to just relax. And I've been working hard in training.
Still got worse.
You're like Mark Bauer, aren't you, basically? Mark Bauer, you started off
It's made me stronger, Steve. It's made me stronger.
Alex, oh dear. What's you haven't won it for a few
bit of a rut.
Bit of a rut. What's going on, mate?
Best goal difference, top of the league.
Absolutely. You just caught us on the hop at the start, I think.
Yeah.
Are we going to have some predictions outside, the scoreline predictions? Are we going for any manager sackings?
I think we need to.
We need to start upping it, don't we? So let's go.
Tim could predict Joe Hart wrong again.
Absolutely. Remember, you lose a point as well if your prediction's incorrect as well, just to bear that in mind. So let's start with Saturday's games. Aston Villa versus Sunderland. Sunderland unlucky getting Wes Brown sent off like they did. They were battering the opposition, weren't they? And then that changed everything, didn't they?
Yeah, it was possibly one of the worst decisions I've seen in a long time. And
I mean, it went into it intensely, didn't it, Wes Brown? But it wasn't a bad tackle particularly, was it?
No, I mean, people
flying in, didn't they? But
they talk about respect for the referees, but sometimes you got to talk to the referees and be like, "Where's your respect for the game?" In a way, it didn't go into it trying to hurt the lad.
No,
and he got the ball cleanly. He didn't even touch him.
No, Alex, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I agree. Really poor decision. He seemed to win it with 1 foot, I think.
Right.
It's been rescinded, obviously.
It's been rescinded, hasn't it? So
it doesn't help them in that game.
What do you make of this referee ringing up and apologising to managers?
I think it
happened with Steve Clarke, didn't it? And Steve Clarke wrong actually coming out in public and saying that happened because now Mourinho's come out and
No, I've heard a lot about this from referees that have been on Sky and radio, and apparently it's something they always do, but this is the only time it's come out.
It's come out in public. What do you think the phone call was between the ref that managed, the referee, the Lampard Germany thing? Do you think there was a phone call there saying sorry about that, Lamps?
No, I don't think so. No.
I don't think the Leeds United European Cup final. I don't think there was a phone call there. Maybe Beckenbauer should have rung up Lorimer and apologised, but
probably just rang up and he's not in.
So I've gone 2-1 Aston Villa there. What do we think? Sunderland showing a bit of fight though, aren't they, under Poyer?
They are, yeah. They're showing something different. For me, it's
too much fight.
Yeah, well, could that be it? Could it just be that they did have 2 players sent off against Hull? So they haven't got the best record.
But is that part of it, getting them fired up and getting them, throwing themselves into challenges and trying to press teams? And that's probably the way to do it, isn't it?
Well, I agree that, like, against Hull, Catamol, they weren't really watching that.
No.
I think they sent off Catamol rather than sent off a player for the challenge.
Yeah.
And Sunderland just need to... they just got that bit of bad luck that you're getting at the bottom of the league at the moment, aren't you?
I kind of fancy them to get out of it, though,
I think they might
they'll get out of it. I've gone 2-1 to Aston Villa. What have you gone, Alex?
I've gone... I'm finding them all difficult this week, I think.
Getting his excuses in early. No,
I think it's...
Are you conceding?
No, I think if you both fluke some scores again, I probably will lose this week. But I've gone 2-2.
2-2.
I still don't rate Villa that highly, but
yeah,
I do. I think I agree with you. I think Sunderland will pull out of it, and I think they'll get a decent point.
Tim?
I've gone for 2-0 Villa. I think
2-0 Villa.
Sunderland might just get that bad luck, and Villa have started to play a lot better football.
Mixed bag out the Villa.
Yeah,
I mean, they did
played
really
very well
on
Monday night. Yeah.
Second half, they were good. Weren't they?
Fantastic goal from Westwood.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Cardiff City versus Arsenal. Interesting one. Cardiff did really well against Manchester United. It wasn't a great performance by United, and we'll get on to them in a bit. But Cardiff, doing well.
Yeah, they're strong at home, especially again in the big games. They've beaten Man City, drawn with Man United, and obviously in the South Wales derby they beat Swansea as well. So they're doing well at home against the big clubs, but I don't think it'll carry on. I think
bridge too far.
Yeah, I think Arsenal obviously doing really well, and I've gone 2 on Arsenal.
Tim, Arsenal, interesting team. They battered Marseille the other night. Really, they were really good, and scoring Wilshere is something, an exciting possibility for Arsenal and England. How do you see this one going, Cardiff City, Arsenal?
It's same with Alex. I've gone 2-1. I think Cardiff will get a goal. They are pretty strong at home, but I think unlike Man U last week, I think Arsenal will be able to see out a victory because they've won quite a lot of away games, haven't they?
Absolutely. I've gone 1-0 Arsenal for that one.
Don't think they'll concede a set piece then.
Nah, they'll be fine. Saka's all over that.
We've seen Arsenal set pieces.
Up next, Everton Stoke. Fantastic Merseyside derby last week, which I got the scoreline correct, if you refer back to the predictions. Yes, I mean, against Stoke, you were saying Stoke at home. I mean, they're away this game, but you said Stoke at home a bit tasty. What do you reckon they're away against at Goodison?
Yeah, I think... Well, they've always been good defensively, Stoke, and I think the last 2 or 3 we've predicted that Stoke might lose at home. That I don't think they've conceded in any of them. But I think Everton, they're doing really well under Martinez. I do think it'll be close, so I can't see many goals in it. I've gone 1-0 Everton.
1-0 Everton. I've gone 1-0 Everton as well. Tim?
I've gone 1-0 Everton as well.
No wonder I can't extend my lead.
So far, no wacky predictions, nothing out of them that you want to do.
No,
you're bottling it.
I don't think anything massive.
I've not got a team to score more than 2 in any of my games.
Well, I've got one later on, but there's not a bigger than a 2-goal swing. But you're a bit conservative like that, aren't you? You've paid the price, aren't you, in the past for that?
Well.
Up next, Norwich City versus Crystal Palace. This is a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Palace, the interesting. Pulis has come in now. They got that 1-0 victory at the weekend. How do you see that one, Tim?
Well, I think that the Pulis factor might kick in a little bit. Having said that, though, Norwich are quite strong at home, and they do always. And if they do win Norwich at home, it's normally by a couple of goals, really, isn't it? So I've gone for a 3-1 Norwich win.
So have I. 3-1 to Norwich. Tim, Alex, sorry.
I've gone 2-1 Norwich.
Mr. Conservative.
Well, it is under pressure, Houghton. I do actually think Pulis will make a difference at Palace, and I think at home they will be strong. But I think Norwich having to win. I've gone 2-1.
2-1. Let's talk about Zaha possibly coming back to Palace. What do you think? Is that
I'd have thought maybe some teams higher up might be in for him, but it might prefer to go to Palace, where he knows the place and
somewhere where he knows. Now this is a game. There'll be someone draws a short straw and I have to be reporting on that. It's West Ham Fulham. That's dire, isn't it?
I know who I want to win.
Who do you want to win? Fulham?
I want Fulham to win.
Why would that be, Alex?
I like Fulham. I like Martin Yall.
Yeah.
I don't like Allardyce or West
Ham. So I've gone 1-1 with that one. I mean, West Ham don't really have a striker. What do you think of Defoe going to West Ham possibly? They talk about leaving. Is that a good
move for him? He needs to go to a team. He needs to play football, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, just sitting on
World Cup coming up
Tottenham
as well.
aren't using him.
No. So I've gone 1-1 West Ham Fulham. Guys, what have you gone for?
I've gone for 2-0 West Ham.
2-0 West Ham. Alex?
Yeah, I've gone for West Ham. I think Allardyce is one of those that when he really needs a result at home, he'll get it.
Right.
I think Fulham are better on paper, but it could be the end of Yall. I've gone for 1-0 West Ham.
And are you going for a sacking, Yall?
No, just on the basis that I don't want him to get sacked. But
right.
if they lose, it's possible.
Possible that it could happen. There we go. Tim's team now. Newcastle on a great run of form. Heart or head, Tim? West Brom home. I think that's a dead cert for Newcastle. I've gone 2-1.
I don't think it's a dead cert. West Brom are. They're not an easy.
They're not
team.
pushovers.
No, they're not. No. Steve Clarke has gone and playing. Having said that, Newcastle have worked wonders so far for me, so I've gone for this one. I've gone for another 3-1 win to Newcastle.
They're lucky, Newcastle.
Extremely lucky. I will throw it out there. They're fantastic. They've sorted out the defence, which has been a weak point. But they've had that luck in the past few games.
Yeah.
But I think a win against West Brom would be good, especially on TV as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably be watching that one.
What do you make of that one, Alex?
Well, as you two are being quite conservative, I'll throw my first bonus point into it.
Oh, hello.
Newcastle won't win.
So you say Newcastle, right? So what score have you gone for?
I've gone for 1-1. I'm not saying it'll definitely be a draw, but Newcastle.
So you want a bonus point if Newcastle don't win?
Yeah.
All right.
Will you give us that?
Right, yeah, okay, yeah, because
you've both gone for Newcastle, so
are we going with that, Tim? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay,
it's
very
wrong,
good.
But
record that bit.
Okay, let's have a look. Sunday's games. Oh wow, this is a cracker. Lots to discuss with this one. First of all, let's have a look at Spurs. They lost, obviously, a massive player in Gareth Bale, but they spent an awful lot of money and brought in 5-6 players, replacing a lot of the core team like Parker and such. And it doesn't look to be paying off at the minute. Do you think Bale kind of patched over AVB's deficiencies as a manager, do you think? Or so many late goals for Spurs last week. I mean, if you take the Bale factor out last season, they would have struggled.
They would, yeah. I don't mind Villa Spurs. I don't agree with some of the stickers getting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind hearing some of your two's comments from the start of the season when you were slagging Arsenal off and saying Tottenham are going to overtake them with all these signings.
I tell you what, we'll try and get that for next week. We'll try and get that. If the
it was just before Arsenal played Tottenham, I think.
Right. I've been completely surprised by Arsenal.
But they bought all the wonder kids off Football Manager. How could it ever go wrong?
Not many of them have played in the Premiership before, though, have they? I mean,
no, well, true, and it does take time to.
Next season, AVB could go. They could get a new manager in, and all these new players could actually turn it on next season after a year in England.
But here's the problem, Alex. It wasn't just that the fact that they lost, it's the manner of the defeat and how down and out of it the players looked. They just didn't look interested. Is that an AVB trait? We saw that kind of thing happening when he was at Chelsea.
Well, they got hammered, but I honestly didn't think it was a 6-0 at all. I thought it was a lot closer than that.
And a goalkeeping mistake.
Yeah, that's not AVB's fault.
No.
But I thought for a lot of the game, Tottenham had not control of it, but they had a lot of the ball, and it was just one of those freak results. And
yeah. What frustrates me, Tim, I don't know about this, is there was a feeling when Redknapp was at Spurs that somehow he's not sophisticated enough to kind of elevate Tottenham. He hasn't got that reputation. He's got the wheeler-dealer aspect. Yet, what's the AVB do? Imagine if Harry Redknapp would have had 110 million to spend, granted lose Bale, would there have been that much difference between AVB and Redknapp? Is it just because Redknapp's English that he doesn't get the respect?
I don't think Redknapp would have spent as much. I know he's got a history of himself spending quite a lot of money, but a lot of the players that were already at Tottenham were his players.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't have brought in his kind of players.
But imagine if Redknapp would have had all that money to spend.
Well,
but does that annoy you, though, the fact that the English guy just gets kind of ridiculed as, he's not sophisticated enough?
It does.
Whereas Villas-Boas turns up in his suit and he's worked with Mourinho and somehow he's, considered to be better.
Harry Redknapp were proven. I don't understand why they got rid. Just because the only reason he didn't get Champions League football was because Chelsea won the Europa. No, they won the Champions League, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Sorry. But there was still, I think, double figures points out of Arsenal at one point and they messed it up. And he was still talking to opposition managers about the England job.
There has been a poll which is said, who do you think would be getting the best out of this current Tottenham squad?
Yeah.
Harry Redknapp or Villas-Boas? And most people had gone for Harry Redknapp. And I personally think that when it comes to Villas-Boas, his downfall, if you like, is trying to motivate players, get them going. You saw that at Chelsea. Couldn't get any of them going. And I think that's the problem at the moment. And also,
there's something about his personality.
Playing Soldado up front by himself against, let's face it, you're playing strong against strong English centre-backs.
But I heard a stat about Soldado that when he was in Spain and he was banging all those goals, he only ever scored one outside the box. So obviously you've got to feed the guy in the box. But the last thing I want to say about the Redknapp thing, imagine if Redknapp had have had Tottenham last season and Bale in that form as well. Then he didn't have Bale quite as good as he was last season.
Yeah, well, what are you saying? Redknapp would have had him.
Well, possibly if Redknapp had have had Bale as he was last season, then because I think Bale's ascent was irrespective of the manager. It doesn't matter who the manager was. I think
he won him a lot of points in the last few minutes of games.
So if Redknapp had have had that as well,
possibly, I think a couple of points on Villas-Boas. I think in his defence, I do believe they've got somebody behind the scenes who recruits players.
Baldini.
So I'm not sure he's the one picking the players, all of them anyway.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's his decision who plays, and I'd like to see Townsend on the left.
But didn't he do that?
So you get a lot more crosses in.
But he played Lennon on the left, and
it seemed a lot in that.
Kabul after he hadn't played for so long against Aguero and Negredo. It just doesn't. I mean, that's stupid decisions, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I said, playing Soldado up again, part of the, bread and butter of the Premier League, if you like, is a lot of the teams in the Premier League have strong centre backs. Big centre back. You think of the best ones. You think of Vidic, Company. You don't normally get that much in Spain of those big, strong centre backs. You've probably got Piqué and Puyol. They're the only two I can really think of. Even Ramos doesn't come across as a big one.
No.
And Soldado, I think you got to play it around, and he needs someone up there with him.
Yeah.
And if I was to go for a bonus point now, it'd be if Tottenham go 4-4-2. They'll at least get a draw.
So if do you want to write that down? So if Spurs go 4-4-2, they'll at least get a draw.
Yes.
All right then. Fair enough.
I don't think they will go 4-4-2, so that's why I've put 2-0 Man U.
If they go 4-4, right, that's fine. Just my last point basically for this is there seems to be a concept that English managers are a bit in that kind of Del Boy. They're not to be respected. And then you get the another manager like a Villas-Boas who comes over and he's been basically a disaster in England. All right, Spurs did okay, but Chelsea, he mucked up there.
It's only a little blip, though. I think
it's just frustrating. But are English managers ever going to get a chance when that's the attitude that they're afforded?
Well, we spoke about it last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's
where they're going to get that. But Brian Dean had to go to Norway to get a job, and Middlesbrough get Karanka in just because he has a reputation of being Mourinho's assistant.
Well, didn't Hodgson go to Liverpool and you were slating him straight away? The one time we get a big club.
It's Hodgson, though, isn't it? That's the problem,
I can say in a month's time, Tottenham are back up there scoring goals, and I just think that's totally over the top.
That's a clip we're going to get there. We'll see. Okay, and their opponents, Manchester United, who are on the top of the form guide at the moment. They took 14 points last 6 games. They're starting to fire under Moyes. Disappointing against Cardiff though, but incredible win against Bayern Leverkusen, who sit just behind Munich in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, it was. I think that they're the kind of games where Man U play better. I think playing against teams like Stoke and even West Brom away, they struggle at teams like that. And let's be honest, Man U should have won it in the last minute with Rooney's chance.
Yeah,
I think that
should he been on the pitch though?
Well, according to his Twitter, it was. He admits it was a bad tackle.
And he had a go at Martin. What's his name? Tyler.
He shouldn't have been on the pitch personally. I don't think.
I think that was the reason they had more of a go about Rooney than the Medell one was because the Medell one was last minute. And Rooney, if Rooney had been sent off, it was start of the game. That was the main difference.
Medal should have been sent off though. I think if Fellaini was one of those players who like a Suarez or an Aguero or someone like that, and if it was maybe someone like Catamol or someone like Joey Barton that did it, and then that player went down, then
he's got away with it now as well.
They've been walking.
They viewed it and said it
wasn't.
It shouldn't.
So what are we going then result wise? I've gone 1-1. I think there'll be a response from Spurs.
I've gone 2-0 Man U.
2-0 Man United.
I've gone 1-1.
1-1 there. Hull, Liverpool. Hull, tide's turned a bit, hasn't it? It's results are on the down.
Yeah, well, I think the last couple of years have been in the Premier League. They've had long stretches of bad runs.
Yeah.
And I've always thought with Bruce that I think when he was at Sunderland, they used to have it'd do a good job, but they would have long spells without winning. And I think this could be a bad time for Hull as well over the Christmas period.
Steve Bruce won't be in any danger of getting sacked, would he?
No, I don't think so. I think Hull have got a bit more about him than to just.
But the owner wants to change the name, doesn't he?
Maybe towards the end of the season, he might find his job in a bit more danger. But no, I think
I wouldn't say they're safe yet, though. No. I think there's a long way to go.
No, I think they could still possibly drop into it.
Liverpool, on the other hand, got great game against Everton last week that we've already mentioned. Suarez, obviously, fantastic goal he scored, and he's continued that rich vein of form from last season. How do you see that going? I've gone 3-1 Liverpool. I don't see anything else in a Liverpool win.
Yeah, I've gone for a 2-0, so a couple of goal margin as well.
Good stuff.
SAS? No, not this week. I think it's going to be one of them days for Liverpool. I seriously think just Hull's a difficult place to go, so I've gone for 1-1.
1-1.
I'm glad he's gone for that. Can I ask you both, who would you rather have if you could have one striker, Suarez or Aguero?
That is difficult.
Suarez. I think Aguero is a fantastic player as Aguero, but I think Aguero probably you need someone with him to play as well, whereas Suarez, I think you could just stick him up there and
I agree.
Do what you have to do.
I think I agree. I think Suarez just has that little bit more, but both.
But Aguero's probably more reliable.
Aguero's a better finisher, but I think Suarez can play there. You said one striker, so I think.
And Aguero's more disciplined, isn't he? He's more reliable.
Yeah. More functional.
It's tough. It's a tough one, that.
It's a tough one,
They're both probably form players in the Premier League now, aren't they?
We'll have to get people to tweet us in and tell us which one they'd prefer.
Yeah, Suarez or Aguero. Yeah, we'll do that. So I've gone 3-1. What scores did we say?
2-0.
2-0. Tim, what did you say, mate?
I said 1-1.
1-1. Right. Okay. So Chelsea, Southampton. Southampton a bit, against Arsenal, stupid keeping mistake. I mean, what did we make of that?
That wasn't his fault, wasn't it?
That was insane, wasn't it? What was he doing?
It was hilarious.
What was he doing?
Did you see it live?
I didn't see it live.
I'd love to have seen
it on. It would have just cracked you up, wouldn't it? Incredible. And it really cost Southampton there, wasn't it? Because Arsenal, struggling to break them down. It could have been a different result entirely. That couldn't it?
I'd love to see Saints not really go for it at Chelsea, but play how they have been and play at the maximum, and they could get some.
See, I've got someone on my side this week, Tim, because Tim and Chris last week were saying about Mourinho's style of football. It doesn't matter because it wins your games, it wins your trophies. But we think
we're not fans.
We're not fans. No, Tim, what have you got to say about that?
Like I said, you play what suits you, and I think even Chelsea proved this season sometimes Mourinho's style isn't quite suiting them at the moment, and they're trying to find a way around it. But
if you play to your strengths, and Chelsea have all those decent attack,
He just can't do attacking football, can he? He just can't do free-flowing attacking football.
The way he's left Matter out suggests that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I saw Matter against Newcastle, and it just wasn't impressive. He didn't get into the game. Now, I don't know whether that's because he just stuck Tiote on him and said,
Well, Chelsea just poor on the day as a whole, though.
Well, Chelsea were
a lot of games.
Yeah, Chelsea were very poor on the day.
So Chelsea, Southampton, I've gone 1-0 Chelsea, grinding it out as usual. What do we think?
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
I fancy Saints to score, but
I'd love to see Saints win it. If there's one that I got wrong, I'd like to say it, just because I like Southampton.
Chelsea will get a late penalty or something to win it, won't they?
Where do we think Southampton come? I think they'll probably fade a little bit and then end up like 6th or 7th or 8th.
Yeah,
I think good though.
I think
it's still great.
It's
season.
fantastic, but I think the power of the others will. I did see something. Someone around Newcastle said tipping Newcastle for Champions League football, which made me laugh a little bit.
Hey, you never know. I
won't put that as a bonus.
Okay, so final game then in the Premiership. It's Manchester City versus Swansea, home banker. Surely Manchester City banging in the goals for fun at the moment. Their incredible scoring rate. Apparently. They've scored with 22% of the shots this season. That's the best conversion rate in the Premier League. Thank you very much, fact sheet. Surely only one winner with this one.
Yeah, I've gone for Man City on that one.
I'm going to go for a little side bet because I've gone 4-0. I'm going to bonus point. I'm going Negredo and Aguero to score. There you go, Alex.
Tim, have you gone 4-0 as well?
Have you gone 4-0 as well?
I've gone 4-0. Just because Swansea got a tough.
Do you want to do a Negredo Aguero goal each?
No, I don't think so. But
this is crazy.
Swansea played.
I tell you what, to extend on the Aguero Suarez thing, which strike partnership would you have? Negredo and Aguero or Suarez and Sturridge? Which would you take there?
Well, I think I'd go
Negredo.
Yeah, because I think they offer you more in terms of physical attributes as well. I think Negredo all season looks.
Yeah, it looks on it, doesn't it?
Proper target man.
Yeah.
What does that spell for Dzeko though? I know he scored the other night.
What about Jovetic as well? He came for a big price and he's not featured, has he? I don't know what's going on with him. Tim, who would you have Negredo and Aguero?
I'd go for Negredo and Aguero. I think they're more reliable than Nan is a lot better than Sam. So
I was going to say
everyone loves a Nan.
NAA. Yeah. So I've gone 4-0 Manchester City. Tim, you've gone 4-0 as well. Alex,
can I put as a bonus for this?
So you're going to Negredo Aguero?
No. Man City won't win by more than 2.
Won't win by more than 2. You're writing
Since
that
you
down.
both said 4.
You're going to write that down.
I've gone 2-0 Man City. I'm not even convinced they'll win, but if they do, it's not going to be comfortable, I think.
So you've gone 2-0.
Yeah, I think Swansea are decent.
I just think they scored 6 past Tottenham.
Yeah.
They destroyed Man United at home, and they destroyed 4-2 against Victoria Pilsen on Wednesday night as well.
It's not going to happen every game though, especially against.
No.
I think Swansea will have more of the ball than Man City. I think they'll have more possession.
I think Man City will do more with it. I don't think Swansea
weren't great against Fulham, were they?
No, they weren't.
They won away at Fulham.
They got a tough game.
That's all right.
They got a tough game on Thursday night against Valencia, didn't they? So
that's absolutely. Well, that's all we've got time for here on the Route 1 Show this week. You can download and subscribe to the Route 1 Show on iTunes for free and catch the latest episode on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Route 1 Show, and you can email us any questions or comments at theroute1show@gmail.com. And also check out our blog, the Route 1 Show, at tumblr.com. I've been Stephen Brown, and with me for this episode has been Tim Feather. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
And thank you, Alex.
Cheers, Steve.